Kuzapula and welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. My name is Cheku. First, the top stories. The second nationwide vaccination campaign begins in the country. The Prime Minister gets the Moderna vaccine as second dose after AstraZeneca. And health experts say people should continue to follow health safety protocols even after the second jab. Now the details, close to 100,000 people were vaccinated on the first day of the second nationwide vaccination campaign, which began on Tuesday. This is almost double the number recorded on the first day of the first vaccination campaign in March.
In Thimphu, people of diverse age groups and from all walks of life started gathering at their respective vaccination centers from as early as 7 in the morning. It was the same in almost all parts of the country. Grateful and content, most of the people chose the Moderna vaccine for the second jab. A few decided to go for the AstraZeneca.
so kichutsugi damka modena nani digi ngachiate te jin damka chapko minuse ngachidi modenara te lotop ki thole sem gasogi thole bera te anibe modena tsui se junil
dangsha japchimula dangsha ngadi gania mavila te ngachi zulu namsemi pentomi se junila ani negi kolida negi kakta te daria ada ganda china na demula gania mavila te ngachi chardisulu lalu dodi jamite bala ani ngagi japtur benis noxamila
tatoti ani kharen la rena thapola te kachibero mizom rebera tir tatoti masan chenzeran la rena thapola
da jim gyakabna byochindi da turu jim biani betego bala te nardi da tomba be myonga da chogida kadinge be da debe thomemala sunide da rangi da genguchi zumchi imla da rangi gengu da rangi bagomina anbe.
The nationwide vaccination will end on Monday next week. After the week-long campaign, the Health Ministry will carry out a separate home-based program for people who are unable to visit the vaccination centers. The government is hopeful that at least 80% of the country's population is vaccinated to achieve herd immunity against the coronavirus. Kinzang Hadan, PBS News.
The Prime Minister, leading a team of volunteers, received the Moderna vaccine as the second dose last Saturday before the start of the nationwide campaign. The Prime Minister took the vaccine to share the experience since the Moderna vaccine is being used for the first time in the country.
The Prime Minister becomes the first person in the country to get the Moderna vaccine for the second dose. After 30 minutes of observation, the Prime Minister said emerging research has pointed out better efficacy for those who have received Moderna as a second dose.
len shipsel bibugi dubde disu ati tabe beuda lente tamam di AstraZeneca chabachin lente ngibom di Moderna da Pfizer ka beru chi chapsubachin ranu kepin masuchi du semigi nesuldi hinsang sebenga chi miselu shedo se shunibela.
The plan was to give the jab to about 50 volunteers, some with underlying medical conditions, but the crowd attracted more and some 600 people ended up getting the second jab.
General public also, we should be very excited because we have the opportunity to have so many options. In fact, AstraZeneca, Moderna, then Pfizer and all. So I think this is the biggest opportunity we have in hand to fight against this pandemic.
We are very thankful for the vaccine. We have been praying for the vaccine as we cannot fight against the virus if we don't get it. Now I have received the second dose. I would like to thank His Majesty the King and His Majesty the Fourth Dugelpo and pray for their well-being.
I feel very happy receiving the second dose today. It not only protects oneself from the virus but shows the unity of our country. If we get the jab, we will be achieving His Majesty's aspiration and protect our country and loved ones from the virus.
So far, Bhutan has secured more than 900,000 doses of various types of COVID vaccines. It also includes some 60,000 extra doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine from the first vaccination campaign. Kinzang Hadan, PBS News.
The residents in Phuentsholing are all smiles as they start getting the second jab of COVID vaccines. The vaccination began from Pasaka on Wednesday. Phuentsholing has been under lockdown for nearly 100 days since April after the detection of 2 cases from the community. This is the third lockdown there.
Phuentsholing continues to see an increasing number of COVID-19 cases despite several measures in place to prevent the virus spread. Just yesterday, 14 positive cases were detected from the community. And as cases are detected every day, the lockdown continues to stretch. Residents are impatient, but with the second dose, they are expecting things to change.
We are very much delighted to know that the second dose of vaccination day is finally here. It has brought in a big sigh of relief because we have been working under the containment mode for the last 100 days and life has been very tough for us.
The moment we heard that people will be vaccinated here, the residents were so happy. I will also take the Moderna vaccine, the one the Prime Minister took as a second jab. I hope people will also prefer that. Once we are vaccinated, we hope that even Phuentsholing will get back to normalcy like other districts.
Since most of the cases are from Megazone 2, there will be mass testing before the vaccination. The Megazone 2 is from Omchu River to Rinchending. The health officials said the vaccine will not be effective if a person has COVID. More than 24,000 people have registered for the vaccine in Phuentsholing. The task force plans to announce the relaxation of lockdown soon. For Sonam Penjo in Phuentsholing, Sringzam, PBS News.
There are already signs of complacency and carelessness among the people after the second dose. But health experts warn that a person does not have full immunity right away. It takes the immune system at least 2 weeks to build up protection against the virus. People should continue to follow health safety measures.
The National Immunization Technical Advisory Group says safety measures are still important as ever as risks still remain even after a person is vaccinated.
For immunity to develop, whether be infection or through vaccination, people will at least take an average for 2 weeks to develop a so-called the adequate response. Even after we get the second jab, we should still continue wearing, following this the safety protocol, like wearing masks, then keeping social distancing, and then hand washing.
According to international medical experts, it is possible that someone who is vaccinated could have very mild symptoms or potentially no symptoms at all and still pass the virus to someone else. But those who are vaccinated are less likely to be hospitalized.
Vaccination is the only I would say the intervention that will see through us in this pandemic. Transmission will keep on going, but the important thing is non-vaccinated people will then, especially if there is outbreak of new variant, then they are likely to see a lot of hospital admission and severity, and also including death.
According to the Health Ministry's data, from over 1,200 local cases detected since April, more than 75% occurred in vaccinated individuals. There was only one fatality where an 82-year-old unvaccinated woman with numerous underlying medical conditions succumbed to the virus. The Health Ministry said the low number of serious cases could be because of the protective effect of the first dose. Sunampem for BBS News.
The Royal University of Bhutan has decided to increase the enrollment in its various colleges by more than 380 seats. This comes after the government's request amid the pandemic, which has left many high school graduates unable to travel abroad to continue their education. The Food Corporation of Bhutan has started conducting potato auctions online this year due to the pandemic. The Bhutan Agriculture and Food Regularity Authority is also strictly enforcing planned quarantine rules on potato export, which mandates exporters to obtain a certificate from the authority before exporting their goods. The officials are currently sensitizing farmers in various districts about the auctioning system and the new regulations.
Farmers will not have to travel to FCB's auction yards in Phinsoling, Samdrup or Gelifut this year to sell their potatoes. Potato growers can instead hire a truck and send their harvest to the auction yards. The auctions will be conducted with the Indian bidders through WhatsApp. FCB has posted 6 coordinators to facilitate the shipment of the potatoes in around 13 potato growing districts. FCB and Bafra officials recently met with local leaders and farmers in Bumthang.
When we send the shipment from the districts to our auction yard, we will punch the name, citizenship identity card number and other details of the drivers in our enterprise resource planning system, which will become accessible to officials at Phinsoling auction yard. So there's no risk of getting the goods misplaced or lost. FCB will take all the risks once the potatoes are handed over to us.
Before the potatoes are transported to Phinsoling, the Bafra officials will conduct a certification inspection. People are also required to pack the potatoes in polypropylene or PP leno bags, which will be made available by FCB. Potatoes also have to be cleaned properly and made soil-free as far as possible.
For the certification, exporters and dealers will have to contact respective Bafra offices before a week's time so that we can inspect the potatoes. They can export the potatoes only after the certification. It is called as phytosanitary certificate, which is an assurance that potatoes are disease-free and safe for human consumption as is required in international trade.
Farmers will have to bear the transportation charges and weigh the potatoes themselves at source, although weighing will also be done once again at the auction yard.
We often have to wait for weeks at Phinsoling when we take the potatoes ourselves for auction. I think this year's arrangement is better and convenient for the farmers.
As we have to weigh the potatoes before loading them in truck, we would be grateful if FCB and the Geog administration could arrange us a weighing facility. We had difficulties finding a weighing machine last year as well.
The FCB zonal coordinator in Bumthang said the agency and the Dzongkhag administration will support farmers with the weighing equipment if necessary. Currently, large-sized potatoes fetch around 24 to 25 ngitam per kilogram, and the medium-sized ones are sold at 18 to 20 ngitam a kilogram at the Phinsoling auction yard. For Kipcho in Bumthang, Samton Dolker, PBS News.
To achieve 100% organic status by 2035, the National Seed Center in Paro launched 7 organic seeds recently. The seeds are quinoa, buckwheat, beans, chilies, ginger, turmeric and asparagus. Production for these seeds began some 2 years ago.
The seeds were produced on previously uncultivated land and without using any chemical fertilizers. Today, there are over 200 organic seed growers registered with the National Seed Center. This year, the center supplied close to 8,000 kilograms of organic seeds across the country.
If everything goes according to plan, we have the opportunity not only to supply within the country, but export the seeds as well. Organic agriculture is developing every year and interest is also increasing, so we have to start with seeds. If we can produce seeds on a large scale, the export potential also rises.
The National Seed Centre started organic seed production during the 2019-20 financial year with support from the National Organic Flagship Programme. Bhutan had a deadline to achieve 100% organic status last year, which the ministry missed. For Namgyewanchu in Paro, Sherab Doji, BBS News.
A woman in Gilifu was shocked to find her life savings in a bank wiped out clean. She was even more shocked to find out that it was done through her phone that was stolen. This is a story of how people easily fall prey to technology.
Mamta Darji runs a canteen at one of the automobile workshops in the new Industrial Service Center in Gilipu. Last month, she got a visit from a BOB Connect agent who was there to inform that 10,000 yutam had been withdrawn in excess from the account. They were both shocked to see each other, the agent because it was a man who came to withdraw the money and Mamta because she had not been to any agent in weeks. Mamta says she lost her mobile phone from the canteen on June 6. With most of her personal details stored in the phone, the thief was able to withdraw her savings of almost 600,000 yutam through the BOB Connect agents. The suspect, an Indian national working in the same workshop, had withdrawn the money from 5 agency banking in just 4 days. He had left for India after a week. Touted as secure, convenient and hassle-free, the BOB Connect agents facilitate services like fund transfers and cash withdrawals, among others. The service is provided through a one-time password which is sent to the account holder's mobile phone. The client is also required to show the citizenship identity card for identification. People can withdraw a maximum of 10,000 yutam at a time. The suspect was last captured on CCTV withdrawing money from one of the agents on June 9. Mamta is now accusing the agents of not following due process. She alleges that the 5 agents should be held accountable for losing her money.
The agents said they could offer service to whoever comes to withdraw money from the agency. I said, without my ID and signature, why did they let him withdraw a huge amount? They said they provide service to everyone, even to children sent by their parents.
The matter has been reported to the police, who are investigating the case. PBS reached out to the Bank of Bhutan, but they did not comment. For Karmawandi in Gilipu, Kinzang Hadan, BBS News.
More than 25,000 investors applied for Bhutan National Bank and Royal Insurance Corporation shares in the last 1 month. The shares were held in the name of Songcho Fund and Kido Fund. The proceeds from the sale of shares will go to the National Resilience Fund for continuing income and interest payment support under the Druggalpos Relief Kido.
The auction, which ended on Thursday, saw more demand than supply. The shares were oversubscribed. For about 35 million BNB shares for sale, investors bid for more than 70 million shares. And for over 15 million RSCB shares, people bid for more than 25 million shares. More than 2 billion yutam was collected from the investors. The floor price, which is the minimum price, was 33 yutam for a BNB share and 17 yutam for a RSCB share. The final price remained the same, although during the auction, people quoted as high as 200 yutam per share.
There's no question of disqualification. Now, it's only about allocation. So, how do you allocate? Given your first, everybody will get the minimum order. So, if the minimum order is 10, so 10,000 share bidders will get 10 each first. Then it will go to the next minimum order until it exhausts.
That means everyone who applied will get their share. Those who bid higher than the final price will be refunded.
This is the first time we are having such huge volume in the market. And for us, it was very important that we disseminate the information and provide the opportunity to every Bhutanese of all walks of life.
The amount collected is to help people during the pandemic. Sangi Shizom for BBS News.
Children can learn coding through games on a popular online platform called Code Monkey. Coding is a computer programming language to develop websites, apps, video games and software. His Majesty's Secretariat presented this online resource to the Education Ministry. It is a gift from His Majesty the King to the Bhutanese children.
Code Monkey was jointly chosen over several leading platforms. It will help making coding anything but a task by making it visually interesting for learners. With different online challenges and activities, students will develop critical, creative and logical thinking.
In the World Economic Forum report, the future of jobs would require skills that can solve complex problems, think critically, be creative, coordinate with others, and etc. And these skills will have to be developed and nurtured in our children and the school. One of the strategies is through coding education right from lower primary classes, if not even from pre-primary school.
The Education Ministry will roll out the online platform in schools from next month.
It will be rolled out in all lower secondary schools, middle secondary schools and higher secondary schools, where it will form part of the ICT curriculum for classes 7 to 8 and will be supplementary learning for other classes. For primary schools and below, it will be rolled out wherever availability of computers and connectivity permits.
The Education Ministry, the Department of Information Technology and Telecom, and the Royal Society for Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics, an office under His Majesty's Secretariat, signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the swift implementation of the program. Coding was introduced into the education curriculum last year to encourage students to keep up with the rapidly changing digital world. Kelzang Choden for BBS News.
And this brings us to the end of this edition of Bhutan This Week. You can find the program on our YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Cheku signing off only for now.